I'm trying to keep this from becoming an out-of-body experience, so bear with me. I need to set up the reading a little bit here, what's going on. There's a family involved in the book, and there's a father, Jeff, a mother, Alyssa, and for some reason they've taught their kids to call them by their first names, which you would understand when you read the book, so that'll be more clear. And the narrator is Sam, who's a 15-year-old, and his brother is Perry, the younger brother. And the family's going out to a restaurant. At the Green Valley restaurant, we got a fox of a wait person, with her face full of metal studs and hoops. Her arms were blue from tattoos. I avoided looking at her. She directed her scorn at Jeff, who deserved it for running his mouth off about how the font they used on the menu was difficult to read. "What's a soy burger?" Perry asked. "Is that like a hamburger?" "Yes," Alyssa snapped. When she turned her attention back to the menu, I grabbed my throat as if I had been poisoned. Perry and Jeff laughed, while Alyssa glared at me. "You should know this, Sam," she said. "If everyone in the world ate soybeans, we could stop destroying the rainforests." I watched Jeff's face for a color shift. "To be fair," he said calmly, "a soybean does not have a complete set of amino acids." "It has enough," Alyssa said. "I don't want to eat amino acids," Perry said, grabbing his throat to copy me. He added a gagging sound. "Stop that," Alyssa said. The jangling waitress eventually brought our food, and we began to eat in silence. Alyssa rubbed her forehead. "I'm sorry. I didn't want it to go this way. I have something to bring up. But I won't do it if everyone's going to be so crabby and sensitive." "And babyish," I said, kicking Perry underneath the table. "I'm not sensitive," Jeff said. "I'm just overworked. I mean, with your car dying and then Patty having all this stuff for me to do, I could have worked on that place all night." "Oh, I'm sorry we pulled you away," Alyssa said. Her tone triggered my radar. "What's that supposed to mean?" Jeff said. "Oh, you love it," Alyssa said. "Mr. He-Man, Mr. Fix-It, helping the girls struggle in their world without men." "I don't even want to know where you're headed with that," Jeff said. He forked a square of soy sausage and chewed it as if he was eating dog poop. "What was it you wanted to bring up?" he asked. Alyssa put her hand on her heart and shut her eyes. "Okay, I'm changing my energy. Could we all just clear out the negative vibes?" She took a deep breath and exhaled. I watched our waitress chuckle at us with another server, a thin male with even more pierced in blue. "Okay," Alyssa said. "Okay, dive in, Alyssa." She took a slow breath. "I'm going to be changing my religion." Jeff nearly choked and reached for his water. "What religion are we?" Perry said. "Christian," Jeff said. "We're Christian." "We were Christian," Alyssa said, staring at Jeff. "Now I'm into women's spirituality. We do rituals in the woods, not in man-made churches." "That's not a religion," Jeff said. "It is too," she said. "It's Wicca." "Wicca," Perry said. "Not Wicca," she said. "Wicca." Jeff put his hand to his forehead. "Is this because we're fighting?" he said. He looked up and added, "Is this about the deer?" "No, not just that," Alyssa said. "But yes, some of that and other things. But it's not a reaction. I mean, it's not a reactive thing. It's part of me finding myself, knowing who I am. It's a good thing." "How can you find yourself if you're not lost, Mom?" Perry asked. "No, honey, I'm not lost. I'm..." A stainless steel picture followed by a tattooed arm snaked in front of Alyssa's face as she talked. Water? The waitress said. I was sure she looked at me with understanding irony. You poor thing, she probably thought. Alyssa stared straight ahead for a few minutes as the waitress poured water very slowly into every glass, all of them untouched except Perry's. He stared at the tattoos as if one of them would lunge at him if he breathed. I want you all to know I see this as a positive thing, Alyssa said. Like financial planning. I thought you'd all be excited. It's like diversity. It's okay for us to differentiate from one another. It's a way of deepening our relationship with the world. But ruining our family in the process, Jeff said. That was the second thing I wanted to bring up, she said. Ruining the family, Jeff said? You got a positive spin on that too? I want us to go see Dr. Rosen. Together. As a family. A shrink? Jeff said. Is he a Wiccan too? Not at all. He's highly respected. He's written books on lots of things, not just family therapy. Let me guess, Jeff said. On the environment? Yes, Alyssa said, raising up her chin. Bingo, I'll give you that one, mister. Jeff released a huge sigh. He's not just your everyday therapist. He's a new kind of therapist. And what kind might that be? Jeff said, staring at the ceiling. He's an eco-therapist, Alyssa said, with what one might call forced enthusiasm. An eco-therapist, Jeff said. I've heard of those, I said. Miss Esty, my teacher, had told us about these, along with eco-historians, eco-philosophers, and eco-economists, although that last one sounds weird. And what does an eco-therapist do? Jeff asked. Psychoanalyze trees? Most therapists, you see, look at the family as, well, just a family. She kicked in with a more genuine enthusiasm. An eco-therapist uses the base assumption that the world, all worlds really, are full of stresses and imbalances, what we call problems. And what we call problems are often just coping mechanisms we've developed for living in an imperfect world. Is that like that guy we read in college? The one who said schizophrenics are normal and the rest of us are insane? Jeff said. Alyssa frowned at him. What's a schizo? Perry said. You, I said, glaring my eyes at him. Be quiet. I was using a trick I heard you can use on dogs. How about a translation for the unenlightened, Jeff said. But you're an ecologist, Jeff, aren't you? I mean, that's what your department is about, isn't it? Why would you be against... Jeff stopped her with a raised hand. You're assuming I'm against this. I'm listening, that's all. I haven't said anything negative. Well, hardly anything. What kind of things does your shaman shake his stick at? What's a shaman? Perry said. It's a male witch, I said. Alyssa squeezed my arm to tell me that, though she appreciated my general support, I should shut up. Many of the women in my spirituality group go to Dr. Rosen, Alyssa said, for all kinds of reasons. Seasonal affective disorder, depression, bulimia, menopause. They all say good things about him. Dr. Rosen shows them how they're reacting essentially to the crisis in the natural world, how pollution is affecting them, how their grief is really a reaction to the tragedy. Alyssa, Jeff said, shaking his head slowly. And then he made the time out sign. Assuming the guy's legit, why would our family need to go see this person? The deer kill. Alyssa said, so loudly I looked around. The servers had heard and I wanted to die. We're all involved in the deer kill, like it or not. Not just because of your job, Jeff. The whole community's involved. It's not a deer kill, Jeff said. It's wildlife management. And we're killing each other, I said dramatically. You see? Alyssa said with an outstretched palm towards me. We're falling apart. We need help. She picked up an orange pepper from my plate and began nibbling at it. What was your announcement? She said to Jeff. Jeff looked ill, a vampire near dawn. Oh, nothing. It was nothing. Something about Eco Day. Eco Day? Alyssa said, staring straight ahead. What's... They, I mean we, renamed Earth Day, I said, almost breathless. And what was wrong with the old name? Alyssa said. Well, we're expanding it, I said, into controversial territory. I managed to say this while looking straight at Jeff. I give up, Jeff said. Dr. Rosen, heal our family. He said this like a Baptist preacher with his hands raised and his head bowed. And when he looked up, we were all staring at him. What? He said. Is that the best you can do? Alyssa said. The very best, he said. Shit, she said quietly and grabbed the bill. What's the damage? Let's get the hell out of this place. Thanks everybody, and thanks for coming again. Gordon convinced me I should have